Welcome to the April break 3D printer event at the Ajax Public Library. I'm Larry Rosen. Thanks for joining me here today. And we're going to start soon. I'm going to see who's in the waiting room and we'll let them in shortly.
Who is this?
Hey, Dodgy, you're on my screen.
Yeah, you're on my screen.
Oh, are you?
Welcome. Welcome to the Ajax Public Library in the clouds.
You're talking.
Can you hear me? I think your mics are all muted. And I'm not able to see you. That's okay. You can choose to have the video on or off if you like. This will be recorded. This session, this event's going to be recorded, but you can keep your video either on or off. As long as you can see me and hear me, that's okay. Oh, yes, you can hear me. Okay, I'm looking at the chat and I see that. Thank you. Excellent. So glad you're here. We're going to start in about 5 minutes. We're just hoping that more people join us here today. So just hang on there. And thanks again for joining us here. And we'll just wait for more people. Just testing something. Yes, we are going to have some fun with this 3D printer this afternoon in about 5 minutes. I think we have another person joining us. If you're joining and it says, do you want to use internet audio, please say yes. Say yes. That way you can hear me. Hello. Welcome. Is it Trisha? Hello. Nice to see you. Well, I can't see you, but that's okay. As long as you can see and hear me. This event is being recorded, so you have the choice of having the video on or off. It doesn't matter. If you don't want to be in the video, just turn off your video like you're doing, and that's all right. Okay, and yeah, we might get a few others, and if that happens, I will let them in. And give me one more sec here. Okay. Welcome everybody to the Ajax Public Library virtual version 3D printer. And I'm glad you're here on this kind of a gray day. If you're going to be inside, you may as well be on Zoom here at the library. And thank you for joining me. My name is Larry Rosen, and I'm here just to show you how our 3D printer works, maybe give you some ideas of things that you might want to print in the future, and show you how easy it is. And again, just a reminder, this is being recorded, but you are welcome to turn off your video, or you can turn it on if you want me to see you. It doesn't matter. So thank you for joining us. Here we go. And if you have any questions, by the way, feel free to unmute during the event and ask me the question, and I'd be happy to answer. Okay, so this is being recorded, and turn off the video if you don't wish to be on the the video. It's all right. So here we go. You've been on Zoom before, probably. You know the difference between the gallery view and the speaker view. You can always change between, if you're in speaker view, it means who's ever talking gets the big picture. And if you're in gallery view, you can see all the other participants, but really it's just me that you need to see, so you can keep it on speaker view if you want. And you can always, here's where you can mute your microphone. If you have to go away for a little bit, just mute the microphone, and the start and stop video at the bottom left corner. There we go. All right, so because you're joining me here today, I'd like to give you the opportunity to receive a free 3D printed object from me, from the Ajax Public Library, as a thank you for joining me here today. And I'll show you how to do that at the end of this demonstration. This event, it doesn't go into the details of what I normally do in a 3D workshop. There we go. I normally do a workshop here once a week where I explain how this works in more detail. But for today, I'm just going to show you quickly how it works, and it's not as much detail. So if you are interested in doing printing at the library by yourself in the future, you would have to take one of our weekly workshops, and you can call the library to book appointments for that anytime. We're not open yet, so you wouldn't be able to come in and print anyway yet until we reopen. Okay. So did you know that they use these 3D printers in space? Do you know why? Do you know why they would need to, do you know why they would want to have 3D printers in space? Just think about it for a sec. Why would this be a good thing up there on the space station? You can either put it in the chat or unmute, or you don't have to respond. It's totally informal today. But the reason they want these in space is because if a part breaks up there, they just print it. Now, obviously, they're going to use something more than plastic, which is what we're using here, this plastic. It's going to be something more sturdy, more strong when they print it up there. But if a part breaks, they print it. That's the reason. And that's why 3D printing is such a big deal. It's becoming a really big deal all over the place. They also use 3D printing to create, I believe it's called prosthetics. For those who might need to have prosthetics, these 3D printers will print them now. And it's funny, this is cutting edge stuff because it can even print skin for burn victims. I don't know how they do that. It's quite amazing, but it's just cutting edge technology again. And they use it to print. You can print a home with 3D printer now. Obviously not one this small. They have really huge 3D printers that can print homes that you can live in. I think that's kind of a big deal. And they're not bad. They look pretty good. And how do they do it? They print it one layer at a time. Just like how they used to do with the bricks. Now they're just doing it with, well, here we call it filament. This plastic we call filament. And Yeah, it's it's quite amazing. And they print anything you can think of. It's just your imagination. I'm going to show you some of the things that you can print here. We don't need to print a home, but we can print a tiny home, a castle. Yeah. So I just want to verify everyone can still hear me. Everyone can still see me. If you can't, please put in the chat or unmute anytime. Just ask a question. And I'm going to continue. Excuse me. I just need to double check and make sure no one's in the waiting room. All right. So what can we print? Anything you can think of. I'm not sure what this is called, but I think you might know what this is. Is that Pikachu? Now you notice that I'm showing you white. Everything is white, but we have different colors. We have different colors of plastic. So even if we don't have the color that you like to print, you can paint these, which is kind of cool. Let me see. I don't know what the name of this is, but I think it's I think it was in a movie, Night at the Museum. I think from Easter Island. I think that's where it's from. But so anything you can think of. A dragon. So lots of great things. And what cannot be printed? Just the usual things you wouldn't normally print, right? Nobody's going to print any of that stuff. And I left one off there, money. Can't print money. But who cares? We need to print fun stuff. What can you print? You can print toys, you can print tools, you can print prototypes of things that you might want to build, decorations, ornaments, anything you can think of. So here's the filament. The filament is the plastic. And I'm just going to show you right here. We got someone else joining us. The filament is the plastic, and it just looks like that. And that is what's up here. And we're going to feed it in to here when we do our 3D print. Okay, everybody's still with us. Just for the new people who have joined us, we are recording, and if you don't want to be recorded, please turn off your video, or I can show you how to do that. And just before I show you how this thing works, I just wanted to show you about support structure. Remember I showed you this dog, and it looks like there's a little piece here that doesn't need to be there. Do you know why it had to be there while I was printing it? I'll show you another example. To support it, right, yes. I just want to show you another example here. Do you know why this Batman had to be printed this way first on the printer? Do you know why it had to have all this other stuff on there? Somebody said support. Let's see, let me go into the chat. To support its parts, exactly, yes, to support it. Yes, that's right, because take a look for a sec. This 3D printer, it prints one layer at a time, okay? So if you're printing this Batman, and you're printing one layer at a time, so when it gets to his arms, if it doesn't have temporary support, it'll just, the filament will just kind of fall down. So it prints a temporary support that looks like this. And then you just pick off the stuff at the end. And it has to do that, but you have to tell it. You have to tell the 3D printer that you want support. But luckily the software tells you whether you need it or not, because not everything needs it. It's only for objects that have protruding parts, like maybe a big nose or the arms or the bird wings are outstretched. Then you would need support. You have to turn on support. If you forget, worst that would happen is it just wouldn't print properly. And then the brim is the base. And sometimes you need to print a brim because if the object has tiny feet, it's going to wobble while it's printing. So if you print a brim, which is really called like a base, if you tell the computer to print a brim, then it's not going to wobble. If you're printing a ball, it's not going to wobble while it's printing. And so this thing gets very hot, and there are wheels underneath which we don't touch because it's already adjusted. It makes it level. And there we go. Are we ready? Oh yes, and we can't guarantee a successful print job. And it's usually $3 to print something here at the library, but because you have joined me here today, you will get to receive a 3D print from me for free at the end of this demonstration. I'll show you how to do that, how to request it. Are you ready? You probably don't have the cheat sheet. It is on our website, but don't worry about it because I have a cheat sheet, and the steps require that I have it because there's so many of them. But whenever you come to print something, we give you a copy of the cheat sheet. And I'm going to show you quick what it looks like, and I'm just going to follow the cheat sheet. And the cheat sheet says, we're going to find an object to print, and we're going to download it, and we put it on a flash drive, a USB drive. And you bring the 3D, you bring the flash drive to the library, and you normally pay your $3 at the desk. You go upstairs and you get a box of tools that we need to do our 3D print. And then we ask for our filament in the color that we want. when we're ready, we're all ready to start. First thing we have to do, according to our cheat sheet, is clean the print bed. And do you know why we have to do this? We have to do this because it helps the object not stick on the surface that much. So it's all in the toolkit. We also have to make sure that a certain blue wire is connected to the 3D printer, and it's always in the toolbox. And I have connected it right into the 3D printer, and it goes right into the computer, which is right next to the 3D printer. The other thing we have to do, in addition to cleaning the print bed, is we have to put some blue tape. We have to put some blue tape. You notice I put a piece on already. Depending on the size of your object, you might need to put more than one piece of tape. For this demonstration, I won't need to, but again, the reason you're putting this, and it's just painter's tape, which we supply for you. The reason you want to do this is because it helps it not stick. Back to our cheat sheet. So we've put on the print bed. Do you have any questions, by the way, so far? Is it kind of making sense? Just want to make sure. Okay. Okay, you let me know if there's got a thumbs up. Excellent. Okay, thank you. Yeah, let me know. Next thing we have to do is turn on the 3D printer. There's a printer in the back. Thank you. Thank you. Thumbs up. Excellent. All right. All right. So I turned on there's a big button in the back of the 3D printer. And then we have to load the filament. Now this part gets a little bit tricky. So I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing. And okay, that's our cheat sheet. And right now I am down here where it says load the filament. So the first thing we have to do, we cannot put this filament in the printer while it's cold, because it won't go in. So we have to heat up the 3D printer. Once it's hot, once it starts to melt the plastic, then we can do it. So there's the temperature button. And what you're seeing there, that temperature button, is really what's on the blue screen right here. But it's hard to show you that blue screen, so I'm showing you in the PowerPoint. I'm going to be pressing the temperature button and then the automatic. And what that's going to do is that it's going to start to raise the temperature. Right now it says 29, but it's going to raise it to almost 200. And that's what we need in order to put in the filament. When the machine says heating done, then we're going to insert the filament. This gets kind of tricky, and that's why coming to this session, you cannot do your own 3D printing. You have to come to a future workshop where I can show you in detail how I put the filament in. It gets a little bit tricky, but there's some tricks that will help you do it. If you come to the future sessions, you can book those anytime. This is just kind of a fun session today. So right now it's heating, and it says it's at 140. And when it gets to 200, I'm going to insert the filament. It's right now it's at 180. It heats up pretty quick. I'm going to see if I can bring this a little bit closer to show you exactly what I'm doing. And yet, and this is, you know, the more you do this, the easier it gets. Oh, by the way, this, if the tape starts to curl up, don't press it down with your hands because this gets hot. Use one of the tools. This is a putty knife. And I just make it go down again. All right, heating done. So what I do is, let's see if you can see me here. The filament, what I do is I put it, there's a little lever that I'm pressing, and while I'm pressing, I'm pushing it in. And what it's going to do is it's going to follow right along here, and I'm pushing it in, and it's just going to follow, and you keep pushing it in until some of it starts to come out at the bottom. So again, I'm pressing a lever that opens up, and then when it's open, I'm putting it through like this, and it's following, it's going to follow right along, right until it gets to, until some of it comes out. Again, we go into this in much more detail at the workshop. When some of it is coming out, I just take the pliers, which is another tool, take it out. All right. My cheat sheet, back to my cheat sheet. All right, then we have to open up the software because this thing doesn't know what to do without the software. So let me share that. The software is called Cura. You can actually download this for free on your computer and play around with it. That's how it looks when you open it up. We have a copy upstairs right next to the computer, so you don't have to bring anything, just your flash drive. So it looks like this, and all we have to do is load, file, open, and then search for wherever your file is on your flash drive. And when you download it, it looks like this, or whatever, it looks like whatever object you chose. So according to our cheat sheet, oh, by the way, if you want to see this from different angles, all you have to do is right click on your mouse and hold it down, and it looks like this. I'm right clicking on my mouse and I'm holding it down and I'm dragging the mouse around. So it's 3D, so you can see it from every angle. You can see this from every angle, which is really nice. And welcome to whoever has just joined us. Just a reminder, this is being recorded, so turn off your video if you don't want to be seen. And okay, so this is the software. Now, according to our cheat sheet, we want to, just going to move over here. We want to find out how long this is going to take to print, because when you come to the library, you only have 2 hours to print. So this owl, let's see how long it takes to print. So I'm going to click the slice button here at the bottom right corner. And let's see, it's now, let's see how long it takes. An hour. Yeah, we cannot do that. But luckily, Cura can help you shrink the object. Okay, so we're going to shrink the object. According to our cheat sheet, the first thing that the question asks, does your object need shrinking? So we do need to shrink this object. How do we do it? We click on this object, and then this little icon right here looks like a big beaker and a little beaker. If you press it, now we can shrink our object. If this is 100%, what if we tried 50%? Now that shrunk it in half. Was that enough? Let's see, let's slice it. That brought us down to 2 hours and 17 minutes. Now, that is, it's still a bit too long. You only have 2 hours. So what if we did 40%? Well, say 45, what do you think? Let's try 45. So I did 45 here, and now I'm going to slice it again, and let's see what comes up. One hour and 49 minutes, that's in the 2 hour time frame. So we can print that. However, for today, we don't have an hour and 49 minutes. We only have a lot less. So let's see what happens if I change that to 20. Ooh, it's getting pretty small, isn't it? Let's see what 20 gives us. 27 minutes? Okay, I'm going to change that to 15 because I want this to print while we are chatting. So that's going to take 15 minutes. Okay, it's going to be really tiny, but maybe it's going to be too small. But well, yeah, I think that's probably going to be a bit too small. I better leave it at 20. If it doesn't finish by the time we're finished, that's okay. So that's going to take 27 minutes. Okay. So is that the only question we ask? No, there's 3 other questions before we hit the print button. The second question is, does your object need to move? It's the only object on here, so we don't have to move it away. But if we did, it would be this top one right here. The third question is, does your object need to rotate? Sometimes you download an object and it's on its back and you need to rotate it back up so that it's standing. If you need to do that, That's this one right here, the third one. And this question is one of the most important questions. Does your object need support? Remember I talked to you earlier about support? Does it need support? Here's how you find out. Why so long? Why does it take so long? You're asking why does it take so long? The 3D printer that's just how long it takes. You shouldn't do this if you're in a rush. Obviously, the more bigger the object, that was 11 hours because it was a really big owl. So to turn on the see, each of these are tabs, and this tab, there's the support button. That's what you would turn on if you wanted support. And this one, called adhesion, it's another word for brim. You would turn that on if you needed the brim. But this owl does not need support because it doesn't have something, or maybe it does. Let's find out. Does this object need support? Let's look at this object again. Do you see red? I see red. If you see red, I'm right clicking and I'm dragging. Yes, you see red? Good. If you see red while you're right click and dragging, that means it needs support. If you see red on the bottom, it doesn't matter, you don't need it. But if you see red anywhere else, it needs support. So I am going to press the tab here and click support. But I'm not going to press Brim because it doesn't need a base. I think we're ready to print. But we have to slice it one more time just to make sure. So I'm going to click the slice button. Okay. Now we'll probably finish before this 31 minutes is done, but maybe not. We'll see. So look what happened while I was talking. A bunch of filament just oozed out. I'm just grabbing that. I just took it out. Okay. I'm going to press print via USB. And now we see this. And what's going to happen is this is what you see while it's printing. If you ever need to pause or abort the job while it's printing, there's the buttons right there that you would press. One stops it and one doesn't let you start it again. How am I doing so far? Is it making sense? Okay, so now what it's going to do is it's going to, oh, thank you. It's going to think about what it has to do for a minute. And let's watch it and see if it worked. It gauges where the center of the bed is. And now it's moving. Okay. Now, this first part, you're not going to be able to see much for the first couple of layers. You're not going to be able to see that much yet. But I'm going to let you see it as it's printing. And so what we did was we went on a website and we downloaded an owl. And the owl, when I put it into Cura, which is the software, it said it was going to take 11 hours to print, which means the owl would have been humongous instead of something like this. By the way, this took about an hour to print. So what I had to do was, and you saw it, I went into Cura and I shrunk the owl down to 30 minutes. Which means, and because it's only going to be 30 minutes, it's probably only going to be the size of this thing. Really, really tiny. But you get 2 hours whenever you come to do a print after you take one of my workshops. It's still way too early for you to see anything happening. But let's give it some time. Do you have any questions? If you want to unmute your microphone or video, please do and let me know, or chat. Please feel free to ask, and I'm just going to let this print for a bit and you can see our progress. And I will, the workshop, yes. Now, when is the workshop happening? We used to do these in person before the pandemic. And hopefully after the pandemic, we'll be able to do it again in person. But right now, I'm doing them on Zoom. And it's very similar to what you are seeing here today. The only difference is that I go into a little bit more detail on how to put the filament in and how to remove the filament after it's done. Things like that, which you would need in order to 3D print. Yes. Now, regarding, how do you choose colors? We have 5 colors available. Trying to think what they are. I may have to get back to you on that. But regardless, even if you chose a neutral color like black or white, you can paint them with dollar store paints. It doesn't have to be whatever color we have. We've got a few nice colors. Because you joined me here today, you are going to get a 3D print object, and it can either be, let me show you. Let me show you. Oh, just making sure it's going. Oh, it's going to be a very tiny owl. Okay, there we go. Now, we have these are 5 objects that you could possibly print, but you don't have to. You can actually print any object that you would like that can be printed in the space of 1 hour. If you choose one of these 5, it could probably be done a little quicker because we have some available already, but you don't have to. And these are the objects that are free today. You can, I'm going to show you how you can get one. If you choose one of these 5 objects, it would take a little bit less time to get them. And here's what you would do. You would just email me using the email address that you used when you signed up on Eventbrite, because that helps me keep track of who attended this workshop. Just email me your name, the date of this event, phone number, and choose one of the 5 objects that you would like me to print. I'll show you in a sec if you want to print something different. One 3D object per person, and only participants of this event can receive the 3D object. And there's my email address for those who want one of those 5 objects. You can screen capture this if you like, or write down my email address. For those who don't want to print one of those 5 objects, it might take a bit longer, but what you would do is you would go into thingiverse.com website, and you would find an STL object that you would like to print. The one you choose has to be .stl. And you would save that, you would copy the URL that you see at the top of your browser and paste it into an email and let me know which one you would like me to print. So it's the same procedure. You would just email me your name, the date, the URL. STL, what is STL? STL is the format that this printer understands. And most of the objects that you see on Thingiverse are .stl. A few of them are not. That's why I say, if you see one that does not say .stl, then it won't work. But you know what? If you send me a URL of something you like, I can tell you as well. I'll let you know if I can print it or not. So don't worry. Just find something that you like. Copy the top of the page on Thingiverse and send it to me, and I will email you back and tell you whether I can print it or not. And again, here are the 5 objects. Those, I have some printed already. I can do it a lot quicker if you want one of these objects. Let's see how our object is doing. I'm not sure if you can see. It's probably very hard because again, the owl is so small. Now, how long do we have left before it finishes printing? Let's find out. I'm going to go back to Cura and see how long that's how long it's been printing so far. It's 35% done. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . And it is purple. The owl that I am printing is purple. And it's the same color as, well, look at this. I didn't realize I had a finished owl. That's what it's going to look like. I think I chose the 40%. Not, I don't remember what percent I shrunk it to, so it might be a different size. Remember, don't touch this. It gets very hot. How big will the object be? It depends on how much you shrink it. That owl was 11 hours, but we shrunk it so that it would print in 30 minutes, which means it's going to be really tiny. But you can have up to 2 hours. So whatever you can print in 2 hours. What material are we using to print the owl? The material is called filament, and it looks like this. Looks like plastic spaghetti. And we feed that plastic spaghetti into the machine, and it comes out in the form of an owl. Is that not cool? I know it's very hard to see the actual object while it's printing. Regarding if it takes longer than 2 hours, right now, because there's not a lot of use yet on the 3D printer, you can book 2 sessions. But when it starts to get busy, you might not be able to book 2 sessions in a row. It just depends on how busy we get. So, and you also get 30 minutes before the 2 hours to set up and 30 minutes after to tear down. And the reason so it's a 3-hour session whenever you book a session. And you can only book sessions after you've taken my real workshops. And the reason you want 30 minutes before is because you might need time to shrink the object. You might need time, well, you'll need time to put in the filament and all that stuff. But the actual printing time is 2 hours. And then after you're finished, you have to remove the filament. I'm going to show you how to do that as well. So it's a 3-hour in total. I love these questions. In one thing, can we choose more than one? Oh, that's a good question. There are some 3D printers that have more than one print head, but this only has one print head. So you can only choose one color for the whole object. But you can paint the object, right? So it doesn't need, it can be whatever color you want. I think we have orange. I think we have natural, which is like see-through. And I think we have some kind of a bluish green color. I have to get the exact colors. Or if you email me, I will, and I'll give you my email address again. I will tell you what colors there are, but don't let that stop you, because you can always paint. Let's see how we're doing. Mhm. Oh, yes, whatever object you choose, please email me. Okay, don't put it in here in the chat, because I just need to keep organized. So whatever link you find that you want to print for your, and this is just for the 3D, the free object that I will print for you, please email me. Okay, that's the only way that I'll be able to know. And I'll give you the instructions again. So for those that want one of the 5 objects, here are the 5 objects. Just in an email, just tell me which one you want. And in that email, include, oh, sorry, include your first, last name, date of this event, phone number, and choose one of the 5 objects, one per person. And there's my email address. And it's the same thing for those who want something different than the 5 objects. Go to Thingiverse. It has to be an STL format, and email me right here. You copy the URL that you see at the top of the browser. And include your first, last name, date of this event, phone number, and the URL. If you can't find the STL, then just email me the URL that's at the top. That's at the top of the page. Okay. Let's see how we're doing. We are at 62% done. And let's see if I can bring you in for a closer look. One layer at a time. So it's getting there. How much time do we have left? 65% done. So another 10 minutes or so. I also have a version of my workshop on the internet. But just watching that video is not enough. You actually have to be with me on Zoom in person in order to do 3D printing yourself. And when you come to do 3D printing, it will just be you. No one will be available to assist, but that's okay, because you'll have taken the workshop. You'll know what you're doing. Don't worry about it. And there's no workshops anyway during the pandemic. But you can still take the Zoom workshops. Okay. Sorry, just give me one sec here. Oh, that it's also on our YouTube channel. Yes. Are there any other questions? I need to show you actually how to remove the filament. Looks like it's good. Hello? Oh, I thought I heard someone there. That's all right. Do you want me to let this finish, or do you want me to stop it right now to show you how the filament is removed? Any preferences? It's another probably 9 or 8 minutes left. Let it finish? Okay. Yeah, I'm curious to see if this thing works. Let it finish. Okay. If you can, with a show of hands, do you think that this is something you might want to try in the future once the pandemic, once it ends? Yes, yes. That's good to hear because, and you know what? The first time you do it, after you take a workshop and after you come and do this, just book it on a day when I happen to be in the library. So if you have questions, I'll be able to answer. Let's bring you in again. Let's see. Ooh, the suspense. Oh, I can't think of anything more fun to do on a day like this. And I thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to come and do this or see what it's all about. I think the owl has printed, the 3D printer has printed everything except the owl's head. So it's just printing that now. That would kind of be a good thing for an owl to have, I think. Just think if there's any other things I have not shown you. This is one of the 5 objects. It's a baby dragon, but it's not, I'm not sure if that's the right size or if it's more that size. It's the only limit for these free objects is that it needs to be printed in the space of an hour. So however big I can make it in the space of 1 hour. I wish it was printing faster, but it's a dragon. Oh, I see owl. Okay. You're very welcome. Let's get an update from Cura. Does the owl need time to dry? No, the owl is not hot, but when this finishes printing, do not touch it. What it does is this bed goes back and it cools for a little while. So it's not wet. There's no, because it's a good question, but there's no moisture in it. It's It just, the moment it prints, there are these little tiny fans that dry it off. Well, not dry, harden the plastic. We are 4 minutes to go. Can you hang in there for 4 more minutes? Here is, I wanted to show you this as well before this finishes. Feedback is always appreciated for these kind of events. And if you get a chance, feedback would be greatly appreciated. All you have to do is go to our website and click on the Contact Us page. And then there's a link at the bottom called General Comment, or there's the shortcut if you wanted to print screen that. All feedback is so much appreciated. If you go, there's the form that you would fill out. Just how did we do, and what can we do to improve? Because we can always improve. I think the only thing remaining is the ears. I am thinking that it's going to be a little bit bigger than this. And that's 30 minutes. So the ones you're going to get are going to be twice the size of this one. And how much time we got left? 1 minute and 45 seconds. Oh, stick around, because if you want to see, there's a special procedure to remove the filament as well, for those that are interested. If you don't want to, if you need to go, that's okay. But stick around if you can, and I'll answer any final questions. Oh, the ears, it's being printed now. It's very important to also use the blue tape. Is there sound when the object is done printing? There is no sound. That's why you need to stick around and not wander while it's printing, because something could go wrong, and that's why the pause and the abort buttons are there. But you can tell that it's finished printing because this is the print bed is gonna go to the back. And it should happen very shortly. My mistake, it went forward. I thought it was going to go back. Well, that's because the old printer that we had went back. So what it's doing now is it's sitting there cooling. The temperature is going down. Excuse me. The temperature is going down, which means we cannot remove the filament while the temperature is going down. So, but what you would normally do is you'd wait for this temperature to go down, and then you would take off the owl or whatever object using this. And when you're taking off the object, you're not doing this. You're not doing this. It's more of a this kind of mode. And sometimes with the blue tape, now I shouldn't do this while it's still hot, so I'm not going to do that. But sometimes you can just lift off the tape and it comes off. And sometimes you lift the tape and you just, but you don't do that because the print bed is kind of sensitive. How do you move the printing area that supports? So if you're printing something like a dog and it's got support, you can just take it off, like wiggle it off. It usually comes off pretty quick. This underneath the dog is also support. That can come off. And sometimes you need to do it with tweezers, but be careful. But you'll just, it just comes off. All the support just kind of comes off. Now, just to show you quick how to remove the filament, I need to make this hot again. So I'm gonna heat it up real quick. It should take about 1.5 minutes. And then I'm gonna show you quick how to remove it. And then that's gonna be it. So, and again, putting in the filament and taking out the filament are very important, and those are the trickiest parts. But after you do it a few times, it gets easier. And also remembering if you need support or not. Remember, anything that comes out of the object, like if the person has their arms outstretched, or a bird with wings, then you need to click that support. And if you think it's going to wobble like a ball, then you need to click that brim. I think they call it adhesion. But we go over that in the workshop. And again, the workshop is very similar to this. I just go into a bit more detail. All right, let's see if I can do this. It's heating. Here we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to press. There's little pinchers on the back here. I'm going to press. While I'm pressing, I'm going to pull it out. Here we go. It looks easy, but there are things that I need to tell you in the workshop. That I don't have time here to show you. Oh, it came off. It came off very easily because we had the blue tape. So that is a 30-minute owl. A 60-minute owl would be twice the size. So that, my friends, is the Ajax Public Library's 3D printer. I want to thank you so much again for taking time out of your busy day to watch me do this. And I hope you get some great ideas. Remember, if you want to get a free object, then Here's how you do it. One of these 5 objects, choose the one you want. If you choose one of those, I can get it to you a bit quicker, maybe within a week. Just let me know in the email. Just put this information in the email. There's my email address at the bottom. For those who do not want one of the 5 objects, just go to Thingiverse. Whatever the URL is at the top, paste that into an email with all of this other information as well. I'd be happy to print it off for you. And then when I print it off, I will email you and let you know it's ready for you to come and pick it up. It probably won't, you won't be able to pick it up during during the lockdown, but it'll be ready for you. And hopefully the lockdown will not last too much longer, I'm hoping. And again, any feedback is very much appreciated. So thank you again. I hope you have a great rest of the week and stay safe. Take care. You're welcome. You are very welcome.